Hi, this is Amy from Motif Music Studios, and one of my favorite lessons to teach each and every year is a lesson on composing. So today we're going to leap into what it would be like to write a song for the first time, or if you're working alongside your own children or you're a music teacher looking for creative prompts to get your students in your studio composing, this is a great way to start. If you're one of my students on YouTube or in person at our online lessons, I'm glad you're here too. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create what's called a motif. And a motif is just a musical idea and a theme for your piece. And today we're going to start with just 4 or 5 notes that you like the sounds of. And you can start with notes within a scale family if you want to create kind of a unified composition. But I also encourage students, break the rules, try new sounds. You never know what you're going to come up with. So today, just for fun, we'll use something from the A minor scale. The A minor scale in its natural form goes from A to A with all white keys. So today, I'll just choose some random notes from that scale. I'm going to choose accessible ones so we can do a few things with it. And you can do the same. You can jot it down or you can play on your instrument and pause this video anytime. So we'll go A, E, D, C, and then E. Okay, so I've got my first little musical idea. It sounds like this. So kind of just a haunting little melody using A, E, D, C, E. As you're working alongside a student, or if you're the student yourself, you can try to jot in a rhythm that you like, or don't let it slow you down. If you just want to try it right away on your keyboard, you can get a little recording of it or someone to record it so you don't forget it. Then that's where the real fun begins. The next thing, it says, now what? Now what? We've got this little 4 or 5 notes, but we want to do something more with it. So I love that some composers might keep all their ideas just in their fingers. Some may like to jot it down, and I don't like to slow students down. If you can't write music yet, keep composing, get someone to record it for you, because often it takes more time to develop the writing of music than it does the actual playing and exploring of sound. So here we go. Let's use some of these ideas to create a whole composition. So here are some ways that you can create a fun, uniform composition using things like listed on the screen. So we're going to talk about repetition. So composers often use this technique to repeat their original motif again and again, and it reminds your listeners of the theme. And we all kind of like things that reoccur. So you could hear that in something like so you can hear, even in that common folk tune, a repetition. So the next thing we do is jot your repetition down and play it 2 times in a row. So mine is going to start sounding like this. Whoops. I surprised myself and I used a repetition, but I put it into a different octave just for fun. So those are ways that you can explore new things. The next thing is sequence. So your first musical idea doesn't have to stay in the same spot. So the idea of sequence is that you would use those same intervals. If you're moving from A to E, that's a 5th apart, and then you could move them up into a different spot on the keyboard. So if we were moving this one, it might sound like this. And you can tell it gives a whole new sound. Now you wouldn't have to do sequence as the next thing you do with your piece. It's just an idea to keep in mind in your toolbox or as you're working with students of your own or your own children at home. And again, if you're one of my students hanging out or one of our YouTube followers, thanks for listening in. The next thing is inversion. So inversion can get to be a lot of fun, and it's a bit tricky at first. I'll just move this so you can see. So it's when you turn your motif upside down. So instead of going up a fifth for this one, you start turning it down a fifth. So we'd go A, D, down a fifth, and then it goes, let's see, instead of going down a step, we'll go up a step. So it's going to go E, and you can stop this and try it at home too. So E, F, D. And in this case, I've kept the rhythmic ideas the same, but you can move those around however you like. So it's a really fun, creative way to just start creating. Some students might want to put down the different ideas like on different pieces of paper, and then you can mix and match them, and you can write the alphabet down or the actual notation, whatever is most accessible to where you're at in your music journey. Something that I forgot about was something called retrograde, which is playing your musical idea backwards. So the other thing is you can take the first motif you had and turn it backwards. So instead of playing this, you could play this. And that retrograde sounds so beautiful as an ending to your piece as well. So this next slide says, I'm inspired, what's next? So I love that it says, just like learning a piece, composition takes time and lots of musical exploration. You can experiment with different dynamics in your piece and figure out how you would explain to somebody else how you want them to play your piece. I love how there's a lot of sounds we can make with our instruments, whether you are doing this on a ukulele, a guitar, or a piano, or even a percussion composition. You can think of different ways you can create sound. So maybe your piece has a splash in it, or maybe you use sounds around you to do knocking sounds, or maybe you do snaps or claps in the middle of your song. That's a way you can add fun to the piece you're playing. And the other thing is, does your song tell a story that has words, or do you want to write a title for it that tells the performer how you want it played? So that's another aspect of composing, is you can figure out a descriptive title or not. You get to choose. Then, how slow or how fast do you want your song played? Some composers might use something called a metronome, and you could do figure out if you want the speed to be fast or if you want it to be slow. And you could even put a number value with a metronome marking on your song if you like. The next thing is, learning music theory can help along the way, but it's also amazing and wonderful just to use your ears and find sounds that express your ideas. And again, I know lots of students who at first could write amazing songs, but they might need the help of their grown-up or their teacher to write down their musical ideas, and that's fantastic. The next thing is, if you need blank notation paper and you do want to write it down, your parents and your grown-ups and your teachers can help you find notation paper. There's lots of sources for that. So I hope that this lesson might inspire you to write your own song, or it might inspire your teacher or your grown-ups to start getting creative with music. I'd love to hear from you in the comments if you tried this on your own. And again, the first step is just write that first motif. Find 5 notes or 4 or 5 notes on the piano that you love the sound of, and start there. So thanks for joining me for today, and I hope that I will see you again in the future. I just remembered that I did write another slide, so this gives a fun visual of what those ideas can look like. So you see here that the motif, you can use shapes to figure out your first notes and then write alphabet letters on them. Repetition is the same idea. Sequence up is moving it up, or even sequence down, moving it down on the staff. Inversion is tipping those ideas with the intervals upside down. And then retrograde, we talked about, I forgot to do a visual for it, is when you are turning your original motif and doing it backwards. So you might start with this note here, and then this one, and then this and this. So those are all fun ways to expand your ideas. And my little tips on this page are: find a way to remember what you wrote. Let's expand your ideas by using some of these different tools, or just creating sounds you like. And you can also ponder your home key. How is your song going to feel like it comes home? Is it going to leave the audience hanging with a very mysterious ending, or does it come and feel grounded in a tonic or a home key? So that's something to think about. And lastly, stay creative. And I encourage, if you're listening in and you're another music teacher, it's really wonderful to give yourself permission to try things without it having to be polished or finished. Keep experimenting, keep exploring on the keys, and I hope this is a fun way to get started with composition for yourself, a student, or teacher. We'll see you next time.